From the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, this is Studio One.
Hi everyone and welcome to Studio One. I'm Monty Cashel.
And I'm Katy Wilson.
Avery has the day off. Today on the show, social media sites like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram have millions of users. We'll talk to a 19-year-old college student who has more than 160,000 people following him online.
Also, most everyone in the country can agree that we've had an especially hard winter. One business in particular heard its phone ring off the hook, and we'll tell you why. But first, marijuana sales in Colorado skyrocketed at the beginning of this year. A new report shows pot sales earned the state $3.5 million in January alone. Monthly pot sales have remained in the millions since it was legalized in early 2013. More than half of the sales came from recreational use. Colorado is the first state to receive an income from marijuana sales. For years, doctors and nutrition experts have said that eggs are not healthy. They are changing their minds. Experts say the 13 essential vitamins and minerals outweigh the heavy amounts of cholesterol. Eggs are also rich in protein and antioxidants, which is good for the heart. Doctors still advise people who suffer from high cholesterol to ask their personal practitioner before regularly eating eggs. Technology keeps changing and improving. Sometimes we aren't prepared for it. Banks will soon see a change in ATM technology. An estimated 95% of ATMs in America run on Windows XP. Microsoft is taking that operating system off the market on April 8th. Microsoft will no longer issue security updates to patch holes in Windows XP. This leaves the ATMs exposed to new types of cyber attacks.
They're making patches for security. So anytime there's an intrusion, then Microsoft will make a patch to make a more secure network.
CNN Money reports the update can cost anywhere between $1,300 to $5,000 per ATM. Banks that implement the new software will be able to upgrade their systems with the click of a button. Many banks are also taking the opportunity to add new card readers, which will accept chip and PIN cards for better security.
The Environmental Protection Agency is making new rules that could increase gas prices. The EPA is looking to cut the sulfur content of gasoline. By 2017, the EPA is requiring all gasoline to have 67% less sulfur than it has now. In addition, the rules would also tighten emission standards. Vehicles made in the model year 2017 and beyond must comply to the new standards. These new rules were developed with input from both the oil and auto industries. They aim to reduce pollution at a low cost to consumers.
Bitter temperatures have been pushing furnaces to the max. Heating and cooling businesses are busier than ever maintaining this winter necessity.
The phone rings off the hook.
Thanks for calling Winter.
It's been a super busy winter compared to, probably the last 5 that I recall.
This year our call center has just been crazy with middle of the night calls.
Many homeowners are seeking out the services of businesses like 1 Hour Heating and Air. This business has received as many as 100 phone calls per day.
A lot of the companies have just been like crazy busy this winter just because of the cold weather.
These companies are as busy as the furnaces themselves. Preston is one of the furnace fixers in high demand.
That one was loose. We've been working probably about 60 to 70 hour weeks on average, I'd say, through most of the winter. So it ends up being a lot, but at the same time, it's nice to be able to help people out.
Homeowners can be proactive.
Something a customer can take care of just by checking their filter monthly and making sure it's not building up with a lot of dust.
Dirty filters are not the only culprits.
Some plugged heat exchangers this year with just them plugging up with soot.
Overall, general cleanliness goes a long way.
To combat the cold, furnaces fight day and night. Preston says he enjoys helping people, but being proactive could make the difference between a routine checkup and an emergency on a cold winter night.
You gonna let me work?
Reporting for Studio One, I'm Katy Fletcher.
With warmer temperatures on the horizon, a routine furnace checkup can help prepare for next winter's battle. Another tip for homeowners is to vacuum around your furnace, especially if it's in the laundry room. Dryer dust can become an issue, and that's the news for now.
All right, thanks, Katie. Some great tips. Well, let's go now to some winter weather know-how. Timm Uhlmann in the weather studio.
Thanks, Monty and Katie. Now, in the northeast, areas such as New York have seen about another foot of snow. And that's not the only thing they've received with this storm. They actually also got some pretty high winds with gusts up to 40 miles per hour. Gusts were high enough that the National Weather Service put out a blizzard warning for the western half of the state. Visibilities dropped to as low as a quarter mile. And that's not the only place that visibility was low. Lubbock, Texas got a dust storm Tuesday. You can see it rolling in there, covering up the fields and limiting visibility for Texas as well. Now, around this time of the year, many people are questioning, are they going to get rain or are they going to get snow? Because it seems to change every single week. Now, the biggest thing they use here is a 540 thickness line, and what that is a measure of pressure differences between two layers. Warmer air is going to be larger, cold air is smaller. So if you get north of here, you're probably going to be snow. That's what's special about this 540 line, and south is going to be rain. And if we step through just this very small time frame here, you can see how this low pressure system and high pressure work together to move this 540 line quite a bit, and that is why your rain and snow changes over such a short period of time. Now, as you freeze and rethaw, that can lead to quite a bit of damage to your roads.
While many say the robin is the sure sign of spring, others might say it's the pothole. Even though the snow is melting, moisture below the surface can cause problems above.
Then the moisture gets between the layers of the pavement or under the pavement, and then it freezes again, and then it moves everything around.
The cycles between freezing and thawing causes potholes. In extreme cases, huge sinkholes can form and could possibly be the size of a bus. While not all cases are that extreme, they can still cause problems.
Fixes that we can do on them are very short term. So we might fill the same pothole every day for 2 weeks.
This tedious process of fixing potholes ever so often can drive people crazy, both for the workers filling them and also the people driving on the patchy roads.
If someone could figure out a relatively cost-effective method to prevent them from ever happening, I will sure listen.
Potholes cost money in more ways than one. They can damage vehicles and deplete a city's budget. But knowing that spring is finally here, some might say they are worth the cost. With photographer Scott Wolf, I'm Molly Offworth, reporting for Studio One.
Volunteers in Waterloo, Iowa have already filled in about 400 different potholes. Now that brings us to our weather question of the week. What is the latest date that the significant snowfall has fallen in the United States? And Monty, when we say significant snowfall, we're talking about more than just a few flurries, something that we can actually measure.
All right, well, let's not hope for any significant snow for a little bit here, right?
I agree with that.
Okay, thanks, Timm. Well, from snow to ice, we have a sports story, and Katie's here to tell us about it.
Thanks, Monty. Minnesota is known as the state of hockey. To have hockey, you need rinks, but keeping them cold is becoming tougher.
Like most other small Minnesota towns, Thief River Falls has a hockey rink or two. Those rinks help make the community what it is.
I look at the arena as a community gathering space more than anything, and it would be a large void to the community itself without it.
But underneath that sheet of ice, something is about to change. In the state of hockey, there are more than 250 indoor sheets of ice. The Minnesota Ice Arena Managers Association says about 2/3 use R22 or Freon-based systems.
One of the concerns and reasons for this is potential global warming effects. Now that's Freon-based.
Starting in 2020, federal law will not allow production of Freon. Rinks still using Freon-based systems have to find alternatives.
What would be required is a different type of refrigerant, where it would be CO2, ammonia, a hybrid Freon. Involves replacing seals and some other parts on our compressor motors in the ice plant downstairs.
Where carbon dioxide is fairly new to arenas and is more efficient than Freon, it comes with higher operating costs. Ammonia is a refrigerant that would be more natural and less expensive, but it is a dangerous chemical to handle.
A leak would be, when you have a couple thousand people at any location, it would be very detrimental.
Some towns may also not have the funds to switch, especially in the smaller communities. With the third period coming up for communities across the state of hockey, it's time to develop a new game plan. In Thief River Falls, with photographer Alex Stadnick, I'm Zach Worthy, reporting for Studio One.
Joe says there are two main types of cooling systems, direct and indirect. An indirect system, like the one in Thief River Falls, can cost up to $50,000 to replace. Direct system renovations could cost up to $1 million. And that's our sports story for today's show.
All right, thanks, Katie. A follower request on social media can be considered a small achievement to users. We'll talk to a musician whose number of followers has gone from 100 to 100,000 in less than a year.
Closed captioning for Studio One is underwritten in part by NDAD, helping others to help themselves.
North Dakota is facing challenges in healthcare delivery. The University of North Dakota School of Medicine and Health Sciences is building a place to help meet the state's healthcare needs. In addition to a new structure, we're also building interaction between healthcare professionals while building a workforce through expanding class sizes. We're inspiring our youth to engage in healthcare careers and exploring ways to reduce disease. It starts here and ends here, building a better future for North Dakota.
At the University of North Dakota College of Engineering and Mines, classes have real-life application. Mentors guide students. Our work improves quality of life by answering tough questions with creativity and innovation. The University of North Dakota College of Engineering and Mines, training tomorrow's engineering and geology experts today.
The University of North Dakota College of Business and Public Administration, connecting vision to innovation.
Studio One closed captioning is underwritten in part by Options, your disability information source.
The methods of making it in the music business are changing along with technology. More and more people use websites like YouTube to upload their talent from the comfort of home. Musician Biernat is here to tell us how he became social media famous. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Monty.
Now you're familiar with this because actually Will is a reporter here at Studio One, but this is so interesting we had to pull you on as a guest.
Definitely.
How did you discover your love for music?
Well, it's kind of gone back way in time. When I was younger, my parents definitely pushed me into going into music. So I started piano lessons when I was like in kindergarten, first grade, and that turned into something else, and it turned into more writing and singing, and that's how it kind of started, I guess.
All right, so you have the talent, but there's this other element that is kind of crazy when you think about it, the social media part. How do you use social media to get noticed?
Well, actually, I got discovered kind of through an app called Vine, and I use that to make like 6-second covers of myself. singing little clips of songs and like covers. And I started doing that last summer in like August, September, and that turned in from like 100 followers, like 1,000, and then I think by the end of August I had like 30,000 followers on it or something.
I mean, it exploded on you,
Yeah,
right?
it did.
And, you know, we have a picture of your profile. You have a lot of followers. More than 160,000 followers.
It's crazy.
And when you do a search for Will, you're in the top 10 of all of Vine.
Next to Will Ferrell. And
right, exactly. So how did this number get so high?
You know, I don't really have an answer for that. Like, I don't know how it happened. It's kind of one of those things that you just really don't plan on. It's just something that happens. And so one day I started posting videos and it started getting more likes, and so, like, people subscribed and followed me on Vine. And it turned in from 30,000 to like September, like I had like 70 or 80,000, and then by October I had like 100,000, and now to where I am today with 160,000.
So it basically, you know, it was kind of, you know, at a decent number for a while, and then it just snowballed.
Yeah.
So why is that? Do you know why?
I really don't know why, but there were a few videos that went really viral. I think that they were on the popular page for, I don't know, about a week or so. And so it was one of those things that it just took off, and I'm really happy about it, obviously.
Sure.
So
you get yourself out there.
Yeah.
And you were explaining Vine. For those who don't use social media, you said a 6-second loop of a song?
It's a 6-second loop, yeah. It's one of those things that just repeats itself over and over. It can get kind of annoying if you don't listen, if you don't, I don't know, take time off from it or something. But
sure.
Yeah.
Well, why did people find you? There are millions of people out on social media. They're talented people. They know how to record themselves. They know how to throw it out there. Why did the people find you?
I still have no idea. It was one of those things. I had just tried out for X Factor in June, and I was put as an alternate on the show, and so I didn't end up going back because I didn't want to drive all the way out to Denver if I wasn't going to meet the judges or whatever. So I just started posting, and it kind of took off all kind of by luck. So it was one of those things that it all happened, and I still don't know why, but it's really cool, and I'm really happy about it. So
sure. And we actually have a video clip of you singing. This is off your YouTube channel, and so if we could just pull that up and take a quick listen to that.
It's a little bit funny, this feeling inside. I'm not one of those who can easily hide.
You and a piano, singing on YouTube, and I heard this clip this morning. I couldn't get it out of my head after I heard you sing it.
Songs you just really can't get it out of your head once you
Exactly. Okay, what is the weirdest thing connected to your social media fame that's happened to you?
Oh God, there was one time when I was in Omaha, and it was in the fall, and I just posted something on my Instagram account, and I was like out to eat with some friends, and like 10 minutes later this girl commented on my picture, and she was like, "I see you right now." I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool, I guess. And so I asked her to come over, and she came and talked with us for a little bit. So that was kind of the weirdest thing that's happened as a result of all of this. It's been kind of cool. So
now, ultimate goal, where do you want to get?
I want to make it in the music industry. Right now I have a few connections with some producers and different labels that I'm talking to. So the ultimate goal would definitely be to make it within the next 5 years or so here. That's a big goal, but I mean, why not shoot for it?
Why not? All right, well, all the best. I hope you get there.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Will, for coming on. Coming up, we'll talk to an artist who dreams up her own animals. She shapes them with clay and has been recognized nationally for her work. That story is next on Studio One.
Studio One closed captioning is underwritten in part by Options, your disability information source.
It's not the size of the woman in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the woman.
Some consider graduation the end of the college experience. For others, it's just the beginning.
And the university provided an environment
where I could grow.
And many years after I graduated, I'm still receiving dividends from my experience as a student at UND.
The University of North Dakota Alumni Association is committed to growing the university by growing the alumni family.
At the University of North Dakota College of Engineering and Mines, classes have real-life application. Mentors guide students. Our work improves quality of life by answering tough questions with creativity and innovation. The University of North Dakota College of Engineering and Mines, training tomorrow's engineering and geology experts today.
Admire the faculty. They're the ones that kind of helped push me through this.
Courses are hands-on and interactive. The communication program has so many different facets to it. One of the great things about the staff in the communication department is that they love what they do. They encourage you to really critically think and analyze everything you're learning. They're so into it, and it makes you want to be into it.
If you would like to attend a live show, go to our website at studio1.und.edu. The movie Need for Speed is an action-packed thriller that takes people on a ride from coast to coast. DreamWorks aims to do that with their new movie after the popular video game franchise Need for Speed. Toby Marshall is a blue-collar mechanic who discreetly races muscle cars. He's framed of a crime committed by an ex-NASCAR driver. After getting out of jail, he seeks revenge. The only way to take down his rival is to beat him in a popular underground race. To get to the race in time, Toby must travel across country, dodging everybody from cops to bounty hunters.
They had done a wonderful job in finding a story that could either live in the slipstream of the Need for Speed video game franchise and at the same time live totally outside of that.
The movie was filmed in Georgia and parts of Detroit, Michigan. Need for Speed accelerates into theaters on March 14th, and it has a PG-13 rating. Growing up decades ago was much different than today. There are more rules today and regulations, all in the name of safety. For example, riding a bike without a helmet was more tolerable years ago. We wanted your thoughts on what you wouldn't let your child do today that you were allowed to do when you were younger.
I would never let my kids just wander the streets like we did when we were kids, because nowadays you can't let them play in the park without supervision.
Sleep in. Okay, I had the most awesome parents ever, and they would always let me sleep in, and it gave me the worst habit I've got now.
We used to put rocks in the middle of snowballs, throw them over the school at the other group, kind of a war games thing. I wouldn't recommend it for anybody because somebody could have been beaned.
I definitely would not let my son buy stuff from strangers like I used to, because you never know what you're going to get.
I don't think that I would let my children shoot bottle rockets at each other like me and my friends did when we were little.
Why?
Because it's dangerous and you blow each other up that way.
Not good to blow each other up. We always post our questions on our social media, and we got a comment from our Facebook page from Paris, France. Julie said, "No one had seat belts. I remember the kids wanted to sit in the front seat, and my mother would fling out her arm to stop them like a reflex every time she hit the brakes." Jim from Grand Forks, North Dakota, he wrote, "I grew up on a farm where exposure to augers, power takeoffs, belts, and other moving parts were a part of every day."
Hundreds of years ago, pottery was used to gather food and water. Today, we often view it as a beautiful form of art. We found a woman who brings life into her pottery.
Clay can be messy. Award-winning artist Rebecca Bogart says being messy is an important part of the process.
And so when you're digging your hands in that, you know, part of the thing is you're thinking about is like, it dries your hands out like crazy and it's crusty and it's messy.
She says her favorite part is when the clay nears its final form.
Once your piece is mostly made and it starts coming to life and you start cleaning it up, and then that's when it's the most exciting because it has a life of its own, it's breathing.
Rebecca says when she was growing up, her parents would take her to work with them. They gave her a desk with all the paper, tape, and glue that she needed. Rebecca's parents still debate who she got her artistic talent from.
And everyone would always say that all my artistic skills came from my dad, although my mom doesn't like that. She kind of thinks maybe there's some of it that came from her too.
Her parents also let her have a lot of pets. Animals are her main source of inspiration.
So my earlier work, there was a time period where I kind of liked to make sort of piglet-ish sort of animals, and round and chubby and generous. But lately I've been enjoying making more weaselly sort of shapes.
Rebecca's main focus is spending time in her studio to create new pieces.
Being an artist is sharing your gifts with the world, and so as much as you can share that, that's the most important thing.
Rebecca says ceramics carries the weight of history on its back. Her pieces carry her vision to share with others. I'm Jen Allison with photographer Christiana Dogan, reporting for Studio One.
Rebecca is also a professor at the University of Nevada, Reno. She has been named Emerging Artist by both the National Council on Education for Ceramic Arts and Ceramics Monthly magazine.
Thanks, Katie. You know, looking at those pieces of art, she said pigletish
right.
and weaselly, two words that I had never heard before. But
Definitely.
It's amazing how she can take an idea, something that doesn't exist, and just create it.
Right, and they're very unique shapes.
Well, someone that we like to hear from always at the end of our show, Timm Uhlmann, is here with the last look at weather.
Well, thanks, Monty and Katie. A lot of people have been enjoying those warmer temperatures this past week, but for the next week, we're looking at colder than average temperatures for pretty much the northern half of the United States, with a little warmer spot down in the southwest. Precipitation-wise, where it's warm, it's also going to be dry, wetter than average for about central Texas to western New York. Now that'll bring us to our weather question of the week. What was the latest date that significant snowfall has fallen in the United States? Earlier we were talking about significant, meaning that you could measure it, and on June 10th in Montana, they got 3 inches of snow. So Monty and Katie, we thought we had a late spring. I don't even want to think about a late summer.
No. I think gardens are in by about that time for sure, and stuff's coming out of the ground. We wouldn't want snow.
I want my fresh veggies.
That's right. Okay, thanks, Tim. Well, that's our show for today. As always, you can follow us through social media or get more information from our website. From all of us here at Studio One, have a great week.
We'll see you next time.